Welcome to The Explainer. We're jumping right in today with a global intelligence briefing for March 31st, 2026. And it is a day of, well, escalating tension, pretty much everywhere you look. We're tracking multiple crises, from military standoffs to political deadlocks, and this is your guide to understanding how it all connects.
Okay, let's just dive right into the top story. A high-stakes standoff in the Middle East that has the entire world on edge. And this quote right here from the Trump campaign really captures the severity of the situation. The United States and Iran are moving closer and closer to a major conflict.
So that quote really sets the stage, doesn't it? Our first big crisis point, the military and diplomatic clashes between the United States and Iran. Now, look, this tension isn't new, we all know that. But what's happening right now? It's reached a whole new level, a critical boiling point.
So, how do we even get here? Well, you only have to look back at the last 7 days. It has been a non-stop, relentless cycle of escalation. The week kicked off with a major U.S. troop deployment, then, bam, a drone attack on Kuwait's airport. President Trump seemed to pull back from a retaliatory strike, but just 2 days after that, Iran launched its own strikes on Israel. And now, the latest word is that even more American troops are on the way.
And while all this military action is happening, you might be wondering, what about diplomacy? Well, it's hit a complete and total wall. A U.S. ceasefire proposal, which was sent through Pakistan, was just flatly rejected by Iran. Tehran says it will not negotiate under the threat of military force and has put out its own list of demands. And it's this kind of deadlock that makes public statements, like President Trump's claim that Iran agreed to never have a nuclear weapon, really hard to pin down, leaving the path forward completely up in the air.
A crisis this big, it never just stays in one place, does it? It's spilling over, and back in the U.S., the fallout is starting to hit home, and it's hitting hard. The most immediate impact? A partial government shutdown that's affecting the daily lives of a lot of Americans.
So what's going on? It all centers on the Department of Homeland Security. You've got lawmakers in a total standoff. They just cannot agree on a funding bill. The whole debate is tangled up with the ballooning costs of the Iran operation and some really contentious issues around the conduct of ICE, which is Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The result is a funding lapse that's shut down critical security functions.
And this isn't just political games in Washington. This has real-world consequences. We're talking over 480 TSA officers gone. They've quit. The situation is so bad that ICE officers are actually being pulled in to help screen passengers at major airports like Phoenix. You've got the acting TSA chief basically pleading with Congress saying that paying these essential workers, well, it should never be a political bargaining chip.
And all this turmoil at home, it's absolutely showing up in public opinion. Just look at this new data from an Associated Press report. That big bar there, that's the majority of Americans saying, hey, this military action against Iran, it's gone too far. And that adds a whole other layer of political pressure on a White House that's trying to navigate a foreign crisis and growing anger at home.
Okay, and then there's the economy. The consequences are spreading like wildfire. We're not just talking numbers on a screen. We're seeing reports of these massive lines at gas stations, from Chile all the way to the Philippines. And the Chicago Fed? They're sounding the alarm, warning of major shocks to the economy if this keeps up.
Okay, so let's pull back for a second. Let's get the wider view, because this U.S.-Iran crisis, it's not happening in a vacuum. It's pouring gasoline on other fires around the globe, creating this incredibly unstable situation that has, frankly, the whole world on edge. Meanwhile, over in Eastern Europe, the brutal war in Ukraine is still raging. But now there's a new, really worrying twist. President Zelensky is now on record accusing Russia of not just continuing its own war, but of actively helping Iran by feeding them intelligence. If that's true, it points to a very dangerous alliance forming against the U.S. and its allies.
At the very same time, another part of the Middle East is just heating up. Israel is now launching strikes on Beirut, and their defense chief has announced plans to go in, to actually occupy a slice of southern Lebanon. I mean, this could be the start of a whole new ground war in a region that's already a powder keg.
And amidst all the talk of troops and strikes, the human cost, it's just staggering. All this focus on military conflict means the humanitarian supply lines are completely breaking down. We're getting confirmations that essential aid, we're talking food, medicine, for millions of people in desperate need in places like Gaza and Sudan, it has completely stopped.
It's such a strange and jarring thing, isn't it? While all these massive crises are unfolding, dominating every headline, life goes on. Culture, sports, national memories, they're all still happening.
It really does feel like we're watching the world on a split screen. On one side, you've got Hollywood wrapping up its Oscar celebrations. On the other, the Yankees and Giants are getting ready for baseball's opening day. America's gearing up for its 250th anniversary. People are paying tribute to the legendary Chuck Norris, and K-pop fans are just ecstatic about the BTS comeback. It's this powerful, almost bizarre reminder that life just keeps going, even when we're right on the brink.
So here we are. As the clock runs out on March 31st, this day of intense conflict, deep political divides, and, well, baseball and pop concerts, it all boils down to one final, incredibly urgent question. And really, this is the only question that matters tonight. The world is just balanced on a razor's edge. From the Strait of Hormuz to the halls of Congress, what happens in the next few days, heck, the next few hours, could truly set the course for the rest of this incredibly turbulent year. Thank you for joining us for this explainer.